Hello, Queens. Welcome to another episode. So, this episode was inspired by the lovely Hedi, and it's not just inspired from, whichever word makes sense. It's not just inspired by Hedi. I've had this question a lot of times, so I thought I would make an episode of it. And it was Hedi's suggestion that it would help her and many others. So, here we are. The title, as you know, which is what I always say, is What the Fuck to Actually Eat When You Stop Restricting. So let's dive in, shall we? You've finally made the incredible and terrifying decision to stop restricting. Yay for you. Fuck yes. And now you're sat there wondering, what the fuck do I actually eat? It all of a sudden feels like the entire world of food has opened up to you. But instead of feeling free, instead of freedom, you feel this massive, overwhelming question mark hanging over every decision of what to eat, every meal, every snack. Right? Can you relate? I get it. I know how paralyzing this can feel, but don't worry, I've got you. So let me just itch my eye. I feel quite tired today. I think I look quite tired, but that's fine. The truth is, when you've spent years restricting your food or tightly controlling what you eat, all of a sudden having permission to eat whatever you want can feel scary as hell, right? Your brain is used to food rules, restriction, deprivation, black or white, a meal plan perhaps. So when these rules and the plan goes out the window, there's bound to be confusion. But guess what? There is no wrong way to do this. There's no right thing to eat when you stop restricting. You do have to find what works for you. And that's the beauty of food freedom. It's individual, it's flexible, and it's totally liberating. So let's break it down. Here's what the fuck to actually eat when you stop restricting. Number one, eat whatever the fuck you want. No, seriously, start with eating what you actually want to eat, not what you think you should want to eat, not what you think feels safe to eat, but what you truly desire. Whether that's burger, pizza, a salad with a shitload of mayo, or a giant bowl of ice cream, if that's what you want, you should eat it. Stop second guessing yourself and trust those cravings. It's not a test. You're not going to fail. Even if you do eat something that you thought you wanted, then when you've eaten it, it turns out you didn't actually want it. That's okay. It's literally just food. You'll be hungry again soon. It's no big deal. You're simply honoring what your body is telling you it needs at that moment. And if you're thinking, but I'll just eat processed food all the time, don't worry, this is part of the process. Your body will eventually balance out and start craving a wider variety of foods. But first, you need to let go of the restriction mindset. And if you still don't know like what you actually want to eat, now you've been given all this freedom, sometimes it can be helpful to check in with little you and just check in with, let's say, 7-year-old you and be like, what would she want to eat right now if anything was available to her? And start there. And if that doesn't work, you can just go through your cupboards, look in your fridge, and imagine yourself eating the options that you have available, or the same as you're walking in a supermarket. And just imagine eating some options and see how it feels in your body, and notice any restrictive mindset, any fear-based thoughts come up. Just notice and let them go and tune into your true self and what you truly want. Imagine that you were no longer afraid of food, no longer afraid of weight gain. What would you actually want to eat? And follow those cravings and those feelings. Number two, no food are off limits. We've been told our entire lives that certain foods are bad or off limits because they'll make us gain weight or because they're unhealthy. Well, fuck that shit. That has not served you and it's not true. When you stop restricting, there are no bad foods. Every food has its place and its purpose. Yes, even the foods you have been told that you should never touch. Give yourself full permission to eat everything, whether it's chocolate, bread, cheese, butter, crisps, donuts. Eat it with zero guilt because your body deserves nourishment, not punishment. And guilt shows up when you think you've done something wrong. And I ask you, what is it you've actually done wrong by choosing to eat what it was that you fancied? And then the answer to that, I'm sure, will be this shit ton of scientific research about how bad sugar is, how processed food is bad, blah, blah, blah. Unlearn all of that and start trusting your body. Number 3, follow your hunger. If you're wondering how much to eat, here's the simple answer. However much your body is asking for. And I know it's not that tangible and you want a structured amount or meal plan or whatever it is. And that's where you get to practice letting go of the black or white, the perfectionism, and start actually tuning into yourself. So you eat as much as you want to eat. This is not about portion control or eating the right amount. This is about relearning how to trust your body's hunger signals, something that restriction has messed up for years. At first, you might feel like you're eating a lot more than usual, and that's because your body has been deprived and is now trying to get what it needs. This is normal. Trust the process. Trust me. Trust me, I've been through it all. I've tried everything. This is the only thing that actually works. Eventually, your hunger will balance out and you will eat intuitively without even thinking about it. Number 4 is eat when you're not hungry. And yes, you heard me correctly. When you've been restricting for ages, also this includes binge eating, bulimia. Binge eating is still a restrictive eating disorder. I've not met a single person who has been diagnosed with binge eating disorder who hasn't restricted or thinks they should restrict or has been trying to restrict. Whether or not successful, that doesn't matter. So when you've been restricting for ages, or wanting to restrict for ages, or trying to ignore your body, etc., your hunger cues might be a bit quiet. They can be because you're not used to responding to them. So sometimes you might not feel hungry at all, but that doesn't mean your body does not need fuel. Eating at regular intervals, even if you're not feeling hungry, can help repair your metabolism and restore your body's trust in you. It is impossible to fuck up your metabolism forever. You can't fuck it up anyway. Your metabolism just simply, what word am I looking for? It simply responds to your food intake. So if you're eating very little or starving yourself all day and then binging in the evening, your metabolism's going to react to that and respond to that and adapt to that. Adapting, that's the word I was looking for. So when you start eating more regularly, the fire in your furnace of your metabolism fires up, and then it's on the go all the time and you feel better, it works better. And I also want to stop and talk about what hunger actually means to you. It's so common from the past version of myself and in my clients at the beginning of working together that they think hunger is when they are physically hungry, maybe even when their tummy is growling, which is when you're quote unquote too hungry. But actually, hunger is if you were to close your eyes and to think about eating something, anything that comes to mind, and it just feels good to you to eat the thing you're thinking about, then you are hungry on one level or another. Because think back to a time where maybe you've just eaten and you feel physically and emotionally satisfied. Whatever you've eaten has just hit the spot. And then if you thought in that moment of eating something, you most likely, speaking from personal experience, would be like, no, I don't want anything right now. I'm good in every sense of the word. I'm physically full. I'm emotionally satisfied. It's hit the spot. I don't want anything right now, maybe later. So you can trust yourself. Hunger does not have to mean feeling physically hungry. It can simply mean feeling like you want to or could eat. So it's changing your definition of what hunger even means. That's important. So think of it like this. You've been starving your body for years. it doesn't trust you to feed it regularly anymore. By eating when you're not necessarily hungry, you're providing nourishment to your body and you're proving to your body that you're going to take care of it consistently no matter what. So, as I said, number 4 is eat when you're not hungry, at the beginning, especially. Number 5, challenge your safe foods. If you've been living with food rules, you've probably got a list of safe foods you always turn to. These are the foods you can usually eat without guilt. While these foods may feel comfortable, sticking to them keeps you in a restrictive mindset. So let's say you've given yourself full permission to eat unrestrictedly, or maybe you're working with me or another coach or whatever it is. You don't need permission. You need to give yourself permission, but sometimes we need permission from a professional we trust to be like, it's okay, literally eat whatever it is you want, when you want, however much you want. And then let's say you're allowing yourself to eat more, but you're still sticking to your safe foods. You're satisfying your physical hunger, but not your emotional hunger. This needs to be worked on as well. It's time to challenge the rules of safe foods and what they mean to you. Maybe your safe food is salad, and the thought of eating pasta scares the shit out of you. Or maybe you always avoid carbs and stick to protein because it feels healthier. Whatever your food rules are, challenge them by eating something that scares you. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first, but pushing through the discomfort is where true freedom lies. You cannot grow psychologically, emotionally, spiritually without being uncomfortable. It's impossible. Growing pains. Start to embrace them and even look forward to growing pains other than trying to avoid them at all costs, because that will just keep you stuck. Number 6, inspiration from someone with food freedom. Now, if you're sitting there walking, whatever it is you're doing as you're listening to this or watching this, and you're thinking, but seriously though, Victoria, what do people who don't restrict actually eat? Let's clear this up. If you genuinely have no fucking clue what to eat or what normal even looks like, it can be helpful to get some inspiration from someone who has a healthy, free relationship with food. That is key. They need to have a healthy, non-restrictive relationship with food, not someone still stuck in diet culture or healthism or clean eating, etc., etc. So here's an example of what a day of eating might look like for someone who's fully in tune with their body. Breakfast, a couple of slices of toast with butter and peanut butter, or maybe a couple of slices of toast with eggs, avocado, some orange juice. They might also have a coffee with milk or a latte, because why not? Maybe they'll have a snack mid-morning, something like a cereal bar or a donut or a piece of fruit or some nuts or whatever it is they fancy. Lunchtime might be a chicken sandwich with mayo and crisps on the side, or maybe a big bowl of pasta with some pesto and some parmesan, a side of fruit if they fancy it, or maybe a chocolate bar if they want something sweet afterwards. An afternoon snack might be a handful of biscuits or some crisps, maybe a piece of cake or a granola bar, whatever is available and appealing in that moment. Dinner might be a homemade pizza with whatever toppings sound good, or maybe a big stir fry with rice and vegetables and a sweet and sour sauce. They might follow up with some ice cream or a glass of wine if the mood strikes. An evening snack might be some popcorn whilst watching TV, or some chocolate because they feel like it. Notice that nothing's planned out or calculated. I'm trying to stop myself from sneezing right now. Hold on. You know, when you feel a sneeze coming on and you're like, nope, okay, it's gone. Anyway, notice how in that example, nothing is planned out, nothing is calculated. They eat what they're craving, what sounds good, and how much they feel like eating. They're not obsessing over portion sizes or trying to make healthy swaps. It's all about what feels good and following their body's natural cravings. So for me personally, a typical day for me, and it can change from day to day, a typical day is I'll have breakfast which is usually some porridge with golden syrup and a banana and some sunflower seeds and what's the other one? Hemp seeds in there too. Sometimes if I'm not that hungry, I'll have a banana and like a massive glass of full fat raw organic milk. I'll usually then have like lunch quite early, about 11:30, 12. And our lunch is always what we had last night for dinner, just heated up, because that's just easiest for us. And it's something less to think about. We actually pick our vegetables from an organic land. We call it the Garden of Eden. So we have quite a lot of vegetables as well as meat and carbs like rice or potatoes, or what else do we have as carbs? Pasta, spaghetti. So I have what we had last night for lunch. And then I'm usually hungry again around maybe 2-ish. And I'll have some homemade flapjack or a cereal bar. Or if someone wants to bring me some cake or something, I'll have something like that, usually with a cup of tea or maybe a chai latte if I'm fancying it. Then we'll have dinner, usually around between, I don't know, 5:30 and 6:30. And again, that can look like, for example, what did we have last night? Excuse me, what did I have last night for dinner? Oh yeah, because I've got it for lunch today. We had rice, creme fraiche, spinach, mincemeat, and like loads of spices and herbs in and some chili. So that's what I had last night. And the night before that, we had spaghetti with tomato sauce, with chicken and vegetables, that kind of stuff. And then in the evening, I'll have some popcorn or mostly some chocolate. Last night I had, I think it was 10 of those Lindt bowls with a cup of tea. The night before that, I had a hot chocolate with squirty cream. Literally whatever I feel like having, that's what I have. So I hope that's helpful to give you an example of what, I don't want to call myself normal because that's actually an insult, but what normal people might eat in food freedom. And number 7, which is the last one, is enjoy your food. This is key. When you spent years restricting, food becomes something to fear. You see food as a threat. And therefore, even though partially you want to enjoy food, you need food, if you see food as a threat, you tend to eat very quickly or extremely slowly, either depending on what your fear response is. But food is not a threat. Food is a nourishing, pleasurable part of life. So now that you're giving yourself permission to eat, it's time to rediscover the joy in eating. So whether that's the crunch of the crisps, the sweetness and the creaminess of the chocolate, or the creaminess of the pasta with the cheese, savor every bite of whatever it is that you eat. Eat slowly if that feels good to you. Enjoy your food and taste your food. Smell your food. Allow yourself to enjoy it without shame or without guilt, because that's what eating is supposed to feel like, pure enjoyment and nourishment. So my final thoughts to the question, what the fuck to actually eat when you stop restricting? The short answer, anything and everything that your body craves for the rest of your life. Yes, really. Stop overthinking it. Stop worrying about good or bad foods. There are no such thing. Give yourself unconditional permission to eat. Honor your hunger. Break those restrictive food rules one at a time. You are on the path to food freedom. It will feel messy. It will be messy and chaotic at first, but trust me, it gets easier. And like I say, it's the only way. Eventually, you'll look back at these early days of eating whatever you want and laugh, knowing that you've finally made peace with food. Because remember, your body knows what it's doing. All you have to do is listen. If I look back to when I was fully allowing, I literally thought I'd paid my coach to tell me it was okay to binge eat, and I was pissed off because I was like, this cannot be okay. How the hell can this be okay? Of course, I felt that way because I was going against like every single thing I'd learned, lived by, and believed my entire life. That chocolate is bad, too much chocolate's bad, too much sugar's bad, too much fat is bad, carbs can, like all the bullshit information that we've been in, like fed, pun intended, throughout our lives. It has an effect on us. And so I was going against all of that. And it felt so wrong. But I also knew intuitively that I couldn't stay where I was because that wasn't working either. So I was eating, if you know me by now, you know my story. I was eating, if a dietitian saw the sugar, the amount of sugar and processed foods that I was eating, they would have had a heart attack just looking at it. And I thought I would have a heart attack eating it, but I didn't. And now I genuinely, without trying, eat a nourishing, balanced, a quote unquote balance, like whatever that means. Well, obviously, balance means a balanced diet, but without trying. And I enjoy food. I enjoy chocolate and I enjoy ice cream, but it's just not a big deal anymore. Honestly, I thought whoever used to say stuff like that was lying. But chocolate is, it's nice, it's delicious, but it's just not a big deal anymore. It's not everything to me anymore. And that's really cool because I get to like have food as a delicious, pleasurable part of life without it being my only source of pleasure, without thinking about it 24/7, without only wanting to meet someone if we're going to be eating something. So otherwise I don't want to meet the person. Like food just gets to be a gorgeous part of life, not your whole life. And the answer to the question, what the fuck to actually eat, whatever it is you want, take inspiration from someone who has a very free and healthy relationship with food and just get to know yourself. There's no black or white, queen. Okay. And I'll see you next week. Loads of love to you. Thank you for, oh, one thing I do want to ask you actually. As you all know, I love to do this podcast and YouTube. I put a lot of energy and time and effort into creating them, recording them, because I love to do it and I want to help and serve you. What you can do for me in return, if you haven't already, on my podcast is rate me 5 stars with whatever platform you listen on and leave me a little review because that really helps people to find me. And on YouTube, what is it? Like, subscribe, share with a friend, all these things. It really does help. So I'd be so grateful if you did that for me. I'm trying to think of what to say in response. You don't have to, of course. It's not always about giving and receiving, but I'd be very grateful if you could. All right, my loves. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Much love.